Hey, welcome everybody to kbapfm.org. I'm here with my friend Lonnie, the Big Man Biggers, and we've been talking off the air about weightlifting. So today we're going to throw a monkey wrench at this YouTube algorithm. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. We'll probably talk about fitness, exercise, probably a little bit about diet, nutrition. Lonnie's had some surgeries to help him get along in life, so he's got questions and thoughts and feelings about a lot of things. And Lonnie, what are you, 72?
77.
77.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Lonnie's getting up there, and I'm 56, and I was a mid-major Division I linebacker at Southeast Missouri State. I had a pretty decent high school career. Kind of thought I was big stuff, and I got humbled a little bit in college with my football career. But nevertheless, I've been lifting weights since I was 12 years old. We had a scholastic book fair thing. They'd bring around a little magazine. You could pick books. And I remember thinking I was going to play professional football. And I thought, well, you got to be strong to play pro football. So there was this book, a paperback book called Get Strong. And it showed a barbell and two hands on the bar. And I was like, man, I'm getting that. So I got that Get Strong book and I started to study it and read it when I was 12.
This wasn't Charles Atlas, I guess. Then.
No, I can't remember the author, but it was way ahead of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It didn't have to be the greatest teaching, but it was way ahead of where I was when I was in sixth grade. And from there, my stepfather was interested in my sports career, and my mother was too. But my stepfather was pretty locked in, and so I got a barbell weight set. I was taking Taekwondo at our karate studio in St. Louis with Mr. Jim Smothers, who's in Paragould now. Mr. Smothers, high level.
Does he have classes up there?
I do you know? He might. He's getting along in years. I'm not sure where he's at on that, but if anybody has a chance to just go talk to him, it'd be worth your time. He's a warrior. Smothers, yeah, like the Smothers brothers.
That's what I was thinking.
Smothers from the 70s, yeah.
Maybe easy to remember.
But he has a. I think he was a welterweight world champion, and there was a kickboxer named Joe Corley who used to call PKA karate fights with Chuck Norris on ESPN in the 80s. And Joe Corley had like an afro, like that 70s afro.
Yeah.
And he Corley developed this thing. He called it a power stretcher. It's kind of like a gimmicky thing. You'd crank it and it would stretch your legs out, so you could kick higher.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And then, anyway, Mr. Smothers knocked him out in 6 seconds. That's where I was going with that story. He had the record for the fastest knockout. He caught him with a ridge hand, probably just ran across the ring, first shot, pow, and took him down. But so anyway, I've been around some guys that have known some stuff. My father was an 11-year NFL veteran. He played pro football. So I've been around the fitness stuff and the exercise stuff. I haven't made a career out of it, but it's been like my main hobby. It's been like my number one hobby, fitness, exercise.
And it looks like it's your main hobby. I mean, because you're well-developed upper and lower body, a lot of strength.
Well, when I was riding bikes all the time, I'd tell my bike riding buddies, I was out there with Scott Roulier and Stan Carter, some of these guys, these guys, Charlie Fuquay.
Yeah.
And these guys, you see them on the street, they just look like regular guys, but their capillary density, their mitochondrial density is probably elite because of all the cycling that they're doing. And so I would tell my cycling buddies, I'd say, guys, I said, if we spend as much time in the weight room as we spend on these bikes, everybody would know we lift weights. Because weightlifting kind of shows.
Yeah.
If
bike riding, not necessarily.
Bike riding doesn't really show. There's a fitness, if a Tour de France cyclist walked in here, you'd see a 135-pound guy that looks pretty thin. Like, man, that guy's pretty thin. Well, yeah, that guy can climb a mountain, on a bicycle faster than most human beings alive,
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've really enjoyed weightlifting. People, there's one man at the gym. I work out at Anytime Fitness here in Batesville, which is a great gym for me. There's I don't want to say hardcore, but there's gyms that are more hardcore, like guys hollering and chalking up and slamming weights and, all that kind of stuff. Anytime Fitness is, to me, a great mix of, it's kind of got a hardcore element. If you want to go hard at Anytime Fitness, you can. But if you want to go in there and just kind of stretch and, do some other stuff, flexibility work or whatever, you can do that too. It's a little more diversified in what it's the customers can get there. Plus it's open all the time.
Well, let me ask this question. In weightlifting, I mean, you can get to a point where that if you don't do stretching exercises to go along with it, you'll get what I call weight bound or
muscle bound.
Muscle bound, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. I just about blew
Man,
that.
you're bringing me back to the 70s, bro.
Yeah,
muscle bound.
Muscle bound. Well,
watch out, you'll get muscle bound.
Yeah, well, you can, and of course it can. Like you took some martial arts courses there too.
Yep.
So that can slow you down in that, can it? When you get too muscle bound, doesn't that slow your movement to some extent?
It just depends on your goals. And like if you just want to get bigger and stronger and you don't care, then who cares? Just be big and strong, and you don't have to. No one's going to ask you to do something athletic.
Not too many people going to try to tangle with you anyway.
Yeah. But if you're like, let's say you need to move, you've got an athletic goal, or you're involved in some sport that requires more than just weightlifting, then you're gonna have to keep that in mind. You're gonna have to put that into the equation. So let's say you're a basketball player and you want to be stronger. Let's say you're posting up and you're getting shoved off the post because you don't have enough
meat on your body.
Junk in your trunk. You don't have enough strength in your legs and your glutes. You're just getting shoved around. You don't like it. So you start doing squats. Okay, great. That's going to help you. That's going to help you with speed. It's going to help you with your vertical jump. It's going to help you with confidence. It's going to help you with how strong you are on the block and all those kinds of things. But at the same time, you still have to play basketball. You still got to run 6 miles a night. You're running back and forth, and you're not just jogging it.
Yeah.
It's interval training. You're sprinting down that court. You're setting up. You're doing your thing. You got to run back and play defense. So a basketball player is not going to look like a power lifter. And if you want to know what you're going to look like, if you keep doing what you're doing, just look at somebody who's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
That's what got me about the cyclists. We used to call it T-Rex, T-Rex arms. The Tyrannosaurus Rex has got these little spindly arms. And I remember thinking, I don't really want arms like that. I don't think I want T-Rex arms,
That's funny. I like that.
But anyway, so for people who are just regular people, just trying to get along in life, and I think there's a big risk as we age for falling.
Oh yes,
it's like And my nurse buddy,
I'm at that risk.
Josh Favor, he's talked to me quite a bit about leg strength. Like how strong your legs are in your 50s and 60s determines whether or not you're just going to conk over when you're 70 and 80 and 90. You need strong legs. So anybody that's listening to this that wants to have a quality of life, I think resistance weight training is something that's good for building muscle. It's good for building bone mass. A lot of people, especially women, are probably concerned about osteoporosis, various, things that, no one wants to walk around with a hunchback. You know what I mean? If
I do know what you mean.
So resistance weight training is going to be the thing.
As you said that about the hunchback, I straightened myself.
We both straightened up. Yeah.
Straightened myself up here.
Yeah, we both straightened up. But when it comes to weightlifting, I think the key is, first of all, you don't want to get injured. You don't want to injure yourself. So there's a lot of machines that control movements that are usually pretty safe for people. But at the same time, you've got to tear down muscle fibers to build back stronger. So if you just go in the gym and you just kind of, play around, you're not really straining.
Yeah.
Then you're probably not going to see real good results with what's called hypertrophy, muscular growth. Your muscles aren't going to grow. But if I call it, you get into the pain cave, or you get into the paint, with resistance weight training, and then you can, once you start getting to a place called failure, you can't lift the weight anymore. It's too heavy. So young men and young women can do like a 1 rep max and usually be okay. Put more weights on her. Let's see what I can do one time, they'll try it. But as you age, those 1 rep maxes can cause injuries, because your connective tissues and different things don't seem to be as supple as they used to be. So, but going to failure at higher reps is probably okay for most people. You get to your 14th rep and you can't do 15 because you're too tired, you're too fatigued.
Yeah.
You're gonna grow some muscle there. You're gonna get stronger doing that. I've been around this stuff, like I said, since I was 12 years old. I've had strength coaches. I've had, I don't know, just I've worked out. I worked out with chiropractors before. So I've had these guys just coach me up. Just it's not an official.
Right, I understand.
You're the coach, I'm the student, but I listen to people when they're talking.
Well, sure, especially if they're have some intelligence and some knowledge about what you're wanting to learn. Yeah,
and like I have like I've heard this before thing. Like I've heard that before. That's probably true. I've heard 7 people say that. There's a lot of consistency. There's congruence across multiple platforms on an idea. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably. That idea has merit, but then I'll have someone say, what you got to do is you got to, put mushrooms on your forehead. That's how you get muscular. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I've never heard that before. I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah.
So you hear weird things every now and then.
What kind of mushrooms are you talking about?
Yeah, you hear weird things every now and then. And so then you're just like, well, I don't know about that. I've never heard anyone else talk about that but you, Mr. Mushroom guy.
Yeah.
But I think everybody should lift, really. Some people have jobs where they lift, and I'm not saying that you need to lift twice. To me, if you're, I was joking with somebody the other day. I was like, I've never seen a fat mailman. You know what I mean? When you look at the mailman or the male women, they're fit, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, that job, and UPS guys too. It's hard to find a fat UPS guy.
Yeah, it is.
Those guys work, man, and so they're hustling, and they're in probably zone 2 or zone 3, throwing boxes around for 5 hours a day, and you want to tell that guy go home and lift?
But you do see a lot of fat policemen, don't you? I had to throw that in. The donut shop.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I just had to throw that in, though.
Yeah, it's like Jim Gaffigan. Have you ever seen him? He's a comedian. He says, yeah, you know why police officers like donuts? And he's like, no, why? He's like, because they're awesome. Everybody loves donuts. Everybody likes donuts.
You know what? I agree with that. I think everybody does love donuts. It's all that sugar and carbs and all that stuff that they love,
Yeah, you get a good hit of dopamine when you eat calorie-dense foods.
Yeah.
That's what everybody likes, is that pleasure, and there's it's the same way with butter, it's the same way with chocolate. It's some people don't like chocolate, but for most people who are human that like chocolate,
I occasionally will cook up some cabbage. And one of the things that I really like in cabbage is butter and lots of it. It just really sweetens the dish, so to speak, and makes it.
Well, you could probably drain that off. I mean,
yeah, you can. But who wants to do that?
Yeah.
What's the point in putting butter in it if you're just going to drain it off?
I was like, cabbage. Where's he going with cabbage, man? We're talking about calorie dense foods. He's like, you put butter in your cabbage.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah, but anyway. All right, I'm sorry I interrupted, and I'm sorry to all the policemen out here. They're not all rotund.
Hey, I know some guys in law enforcement that'll throw you down.
Dude. I mean, I see them on TV all the time when they're tackling all these.
Yeah, there's some guys locally. There's some guys locally that are there's some guys that are a little bit out of shape, but then there's some guys that man.
Yeah, you know what I think about when I think about those young ladies. There's a few young ladies that are working. As a matter of fact, I know one of them pretty well. I used to have her in my Sunday school class.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty sharp, too, pretty smart.
She in law enforcement? Is that what
Yeah. So, but I mean, I wonder sometimes when they have to, if somebody fights back, I mean, a woman is usually at a disadvantage. So they got to learn how to protect themselves and learn a few things. I don't know about what.
I had a funny conversation with our church secretary yesterday. We were talking about... She usually goes to work at the church. She'll lock the door behind herself, to slow down a potential attacker or whatever if they're going to try to get
I understand that.
So she'll be in the church by herself working. She don't want anybody coming in there, So I walked in, the door wasn't locked. So I said, hey, you didn't lock the door, She's like, oh, yeah, I need to lock that door. I was like, oh, yeah. So then as I was leaving, I said, I was telling her about how you can spray someone in the face with Raid insect spray, and it basically blinds them. They have to go to the ER because they can't receive their sight until they get treated by a doctor, supposedly. So you can catch them. You know, whoever it is that's attacked you, you can catch them because they're going to go to the hospital because they want to see. Anyway, so I was telling her about this. She says, "Oh yeah, I might need to get some of that." You know, blah blah. We were just talking. Then she's like, "Yeah, but I have my 38." I was like, "Oh, well, you don't need Raid bug spray then. You got a 38."
Yes, they will go to the hospital or not.
Yeah, they'll go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So I told her, I was like, "Yeah, if you ever have to shoot somebody," and she's like, "Well, I'm just going to shoot them once." I said, "I wouldn't do that. I'd shoot them a bunch of times." I said, "Why you say that?" I said, "Because then you can stand in front of the judge and they say, 'Why'd you shoot him 14 times?'" She said, "I only had 14 bullets." Makes you look like you're really scared. You're the victim.
Besides that, you don't have another witness to the crime.
Yeah,
if you want to call it a crime. But
yeah.
I mean, self-defense, I wouldn't even think about a crime there. But yeah, just take them out. If you're going to bother to shoot them, take them out because, well, here's the other side of that coin. The chances of you getting sued are most likely less
if they die.
Yeah. I mean, because
maybe I don't know.
There's a lot of strange stuff goes on in the courtroom. There's
a line that, a person crosses and they shouldn't cross that line. Kicking your front door down.
That's right.
With a baseball bat in their hand or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you shouldn't have done that. Now I'm going to have to respond to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you might not like how I respond to you. You might cry victim, but you kicked my door down with a baseball bat and started banging it into the walls or whatever, Anyway, so I thought that was funny, that to me, a lot of people will just, Charlie used to talk about, they say, I'm too old to fight. I'm just going to shoot you.
Well, that's where I am, and I'm older than Charlie. So, but that's the way it gets when you get older. I mean, you don't, you're not as physically fit for one thing, as a rule, you can take care of your body, but which we're talking about to do that. But the fact of the matter is generally speaking, a guy in his 20s and 30s, and you're in your 70s, you're probably going to be overmatched.
Yeah, he's going to whoop you.
Yeah.
If it's just a regular fight, everything else being equal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some videos. I pull up a lot of YouTube videos. I was watching a video of an older man. He was kind of bald, and this young guy's like, "I can beat you." They're boxing, And this older man knew how to box. He was throwing jabs.
That's another secret, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, he knows how to do it. He's been in the ring. He's got experience, and he just wore this guy out. Man, I've seen several fights like that where young men are kind of cocky and, they're full of testosterone and confidence. They think they can do something.
Yeah. And
they run into a guy that's just better than them.
Yeah.
And it's good for them. It's good.
And that's another reason you find in law enforcement, you find most of the guys that are committing the crime, especially where they have, maybe rough somebody up or anything like that, most of those are young people because the older guy, he's learned his lesson over the years. I mean, he doesn't really want to fight if he ever has fought. I know I did when I was young. I mean, I fought. I didn't know what I was doing though. See, I never knew what I was doing. I just knew, man, swing it, If you hit him in the head, great. If you didn't, well, he's probably going to get you.
Joe Rogan, who's a podcaster, and he used to call the UFC fights. I don't think he still does sometimes. He's got a black belt in Taekwondo, and so he's a trained fighter. He lifts weights. He's very fit. I think he takes testosterone. He's on TRT, so he's got a younger man's hormone set going, and he's strong. He's trained. And he was talking to a lady on his program about women fighting men, and he tells this lady, he says, "If I get in the ring with John Jones, I'm going to get beat up." You know who John Jones is?
No, I don't.
He's been the light heavyweight world champion. I think he's been the heavyweight world champion. He's arguably the greatest fighter in the history of the UFC. His brother was an NFL football player. I think his grandma is like a Pentecostal preacher lady.
Oh, yeah?
And John struggled with performance-enhancing drugs. He's failed lots of drug tests. But nevertheless, John Jones is ridiculously good at fighting. I mean, he is the man. Hey, I wanted to take a little break just to let you know about a free resource. Back in 2008, I felt inspired to build a Christian radio station. And so we have here in Batesville, Arkansas, 88.1 FM. But globally, we have kbapfm.org. I just want to make this resource available to you just so you know about it. If you're a believer and you like to worship, the format is 24-hour a day, 7-day a week worship. So enjoy the station, check it out. Hope it's a blessing to you. So this lady couldn't believe that Joe Rogan had no chance against John Jones in the octagon. And Joe Rogan said, "No way, lady, you don't understand.
Yeah.
This guy is elite. He is the best of the best. If I fought him 100 times, I would lose 100 times." And she was mind blown, because that means she's not going to win either.
Oh, absolutely not.
A lot of people are a little delusional about what they can do.
Yeah,
they have these delusions of grandeur, confidence based on I don't know what, not reality. Yeah. There's a lot of that out there. But anyway, so I'm into weightlifting, and if you're listening to this, you live in the Batesville area and you want to lift, holler at me. I'll go lift with you. We can go work out. I like I do this thing called supersetting. I forgot when I learned to do that, but it's you train opposing muscle groups back to back rather quickly. So if you're doing a chest workout, you do chest and back. So you do one set of chest and one set of back. That's 2 different exercises in one set. So they call it supersets. And what it does, like, you can train biceps and triceps.
That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Chest and back.
Yeah.
Quadriceps, hamstrings. You can do supersets on these opposing muscle groups. And I think what the theory is, what it does is it's faster. First of all, you can get out of the gym.
Yeah. So you're saying you can do this at the same time.
Yeah.
You can do the.
Yeah. Instead of doing bench press and waiting 3 minutes, and then doing another set of bench press, and then waiting another 3 minutes, and doing another set of bench press. You do bench press and lat pulls, or bench press and seated cable rows, and you do two exercises in the same
basically the same amount of time.
Yeah, a little bit. It takes time to actually do the exercise, but there's no rest. You don't rest between the bench press and the seated cable. But you go bam, bam, and then you rest. Then you do bench press, seated cable rows again. Then you rest. So it's called supersetting.
All right.
But the theory is that what it does is when you do let's say biceps and triceps, you're going to do hammer curls and tricep extensions. So you're pulling your bicep up, and then you're pushing your tricep down. What that does is it brings all this blood flow into that area of your body, and it keeps it there basically. And it's faster. So you can get in and out of the gym in about 30 minutes. I mean, if you want to if you want to do a lot of cardio, then that's not what you need to be doing. But if you want to build strength, and you want to get in and out of the gym quickly, and you want to build muscle mass, let's say you want to build a kind of a metabolic base to burn more fat, that kind of thing. Supersetting, I love it, man. I do it almost every exercise. If I do some compound lifts, there's nothing I can superset it with. Like if I do leg presses, I don't superset that with anything. I just do leg presses. But once I get finished with the leg presses, I'll do leg extensions, leg curls. I'll superset that, to get it over with faster. And it's, like I said, the only problem is at the gym, sometimes people don't know you're doing that. And so they think you're over here doing leg extensions. And so they'll jump on the leg curl machine. And so now you're like, oh man, you messed me up.
You can't get to the machine you want. Okay.
Yeah, because they think you're doing leg extension. Oh, he's on that machine,
Yeah, okay.
A lot of people don't do supersetting, so they don't know. They don't know that that's what's going on.
Well, I can understand this too. As big as you are, you can just go ahead and take them and get. You can take them.
But I'm not going to do that.
I know you're not. I know you wouldn't even think about doing that.
There have been some insecure dudes in the gym that were kind of like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's annoying.
You've always got something like that, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Jesus said, you'll always have the poor with you.
That's right. That's right. And that poor could be poor financially. It could be poor mentally.
Yeah. They've got some kind of attention-getting thing. They need attention, like slamming weights and all that. I think, hey, dude, I mean, what are you doing? Slamming weights, But that's just my style. I don't like slamming weights. I don't like drawing any attention to myself. I just want to get in there, do my thing, and I do like to talk, but it's mostly philosophical things. It's not usually, look how great I am. I'm not in there bloviating about my personal awesomeness. it's usually just, maybe what's going on in the world, what's going on in the news, that kind of stuff. But, and I like to talk to the younger men, because the younger men, I used to be a younger man. Yeah. So I was a little dumber then than I am now. So when I come across
you're still a younger man to me.
Yeah. Younger, it's relative, right?
It is a relative term. Yes.
Yeah, you could be my father. You're old enough to be my dad.
I could. I am old enough to be.
Yeah, you're like 21 years older than me. So
that's right.
You easily could be my dad.
Yeah. I would have been proud of you, son.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're making me cry
because I can see where I have.
You've imparted so much wisdom.
Get out of here. I have passed my genetically superior brain on down to you.
Thank you.
I'm just messing around now.
Yeah.
I should shut up, maybe.
Where would I be without you?
Yeah. But anyway, you're right. I could have been your father age-wise. I could have been, yeah.
So anyway, I think people should lift. I think people should do something.
Well, and of course, what kind of brought this up was when I told you about the Soviets and their training. But I am also thinking at this point, because I've been doing a rehab, as you well know, and going to a rehab center where I'm.
Is that a cardiac rehab?
It's a cardiac, and it's a pulmonary too. They do both of those there at that place. So, and I'm on the treadmill for. That we usually do 20 minutes or close to that. You got to warm up about 5 minutes, and then you do another 15 minutes, a little more difficult. Raise the, I don't know what you call this machine, but you're working your arms and your legs. It's like a bicycle.
It's like an elliptical trainer, maybe.
Well, I don't know what the name. Matter of fact, I'll try to find out what the name of that is, just so I'll know. But anyway, then I do a pretty good 15 minutes. Speed it up, after you warm up, speed it up, and everybody got to speed it up. So I know where I am. But anyway, then I do that, and here's what I've gotten out of this so far. I've been doing it now. I'm not even sure how long I've been doing it. At least 2 months, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better lung capacity because I know that because I can get a deep breath. Just about any time now. I used to struggle once in a while of getting a deep breath, but I don't do that anymore. My legs, I can tell they're stronger. My lower back has gotten stronger, and even my arms, I can tell a difference in that. Mm-hmm. I know that I don't look better. I don't look. My physique has not changed.
Yeah,
I've maybe lost 5 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds. So I'm happy about that.
Sure.
I've been checking my weight. So. From yesterday to today, I lost a pound. So that's one of the things I want to do is lose weight, but I also want to build some, after I've gotten to this far, I want to start building a frame,
Sure.
Get rid of this excess baggage I'm carrying around my waist.
Yeah.
And the other thing about that is if you've got a big fat belly, you've got a lot of fat around your lungs and heart. Yeah, and that's crowding out your ability to breathe better and your ability for your heart to function better.
Yeah, that visceral fat.
And I mean, look, as the old saying goes, if I'd have known I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself.
Yeah.
Well, I would have. I would have not smoked to start with, but I did. I smoked for 31 years. That's a long time puffing, and I was a 2-pack a day person.
Yeah.
And I guess another reason to think about this is if you quit, you can extend. I believe you can extend your life. I don't think for 1 minute that I'd have been alive today if I'd continued smoking. I'm sure I would have already met my maker. I'd have been in the grave, and I firmly believe that. Cigarettes are a killer. So. Yeah. If you smoke, I'm sorry to have to tell you that, but
everybody's already told. They know.
Yeah, every day you suck on that weed is I don't say a day less than you have, but you're cutting your lifetime. So, but anyway, I want to lift now, and I want to get my arms, at least get rid of some of the skin that's flabby.
Yeah.
And if you get muscles underneath that skin, it'll make it look better.
Stretches it out a little bit. Yeah, it takes all the wrinkles out.
So anyway. But I have been young. When I was really young, in my 18 to 30 range, I was pretty fit. And I used to play a lot of basketball, and I used to do some lifting. One of the reasons I did deep knee bends. Yeah. And one of the reasons I started doing that is because I kept getting beat on rebounds. A guy, of course, he was he was at least 4 inches, probably 5 inches taller than I was, and real lanky. You know, I mean, he had long arms. Yeah. So he would get the rebound, and boy, I got tired of that. So, and his weight, he had a little bit of weight advantage, but not much. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to improve my game. I wanted to get more rebounds. So I lifted weights, and I got stronger. And yes, I started getting more. Not only did I get more rebounds, I should have finished that. See, I get sometimes I
get
stop
excited,
and go on a little further without finishing my sentence. But anyway, I was also quicker. And when I would go to drive on him, when I was driving, and he was the guy that always defended me, I was quicker off the bounce. I mean, one bounce nearly, and I was to the hoops, and I had developed a nice little hook shot. Yeah. And he couldn't block that anymore either, because I could jump higher. And so anyway, I'm just saying this, I guess, because if you're interested in getting better at what you're doing, especially if it has to do with physical fitness or physical having to do with some way you've got to have a better physique or a better ability, if you do some weightlifting, you can get there if you want to. Yeah, I'm not saying against everyone. I mean, I wouldn't go against Lou Alcindor or Walton, Bill Walton, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Bill Walton. And a few of those others, they're heavyweights.
Yeah, you're going back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going away. Yeah, I am. A lot of these people don't know who I'm talking about, probably.
Who are those guys?
Well, look it up on Google.
Yeah,
Google Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and some of those guys. They were pretty awesome.
Yeah, they were great basketball players.
But anyway, well, I guess I said what I wanted to say there. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know where people are at. I think younger people are probably still participating. We've got a lady in her 60s at our church that loves to play volleyball at the community center. She does a lot of yoga. She's very active. She's very involved in activities. But most people that, as they get older, they seem to kind of back out of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think to hit the gym is good, man. I mean,
becoming a couch potato is not what you want to do.
Yeah, I'll tell you another weird thing to me about the gym is the headphones. Like now, social media and I guess a little bit of the AI, but the social media has really sequestered everyone into their own
little world.
Yeah, their own echo chamber. They want to listen to what they want to listen to. Maybe they're listening to a podcast. I don't know. Maybe they're listening to music. Some of the guys I work out with will be like, hang on, I got to get a good song before we do this set. I got to get a good jam going, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's meaningless to me.
I can see that when I'm at Rehab, they play different songs, and there's different
kind
ones.
Kind of motivates you.
Yeah, they kind of, you want to get in the rhythm of the song.
Hey, let's go.
And if it's a little bit like we listened to the Doobie Brothers yesterday, and I made a comment about, that was pretty good. I mean, it brought back a lot of old memories, too, because, that was in my era.
Yeah, I remember the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
They weren't my favorite, but that's okay.
I liked to dance to them when I was a young man. It was a pretty good,
lots of associations,
nice song. Yeah,
lots of memories.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Well, with that being said, you got any concluding remarks?
I'm good. I'm good. I think I just think that I'm old, relatively speaking.
Yeah, for an American,
I'm 77, like we said earlier. So, and I'm an old man, and I'm thinking about going to the gym, lifting some weights, and getting in better physical shape.
Well, too, they've got these silver sneaker programs. I don't know if you've heard of that. So if you're an older person and you want to go to the gym, a lot of times Medicaid or Medicare will help pay for some of that, if not all of it.
Mine will pay for that.
Yeah, so I mean,
no reason not to do it.
Yeah, and plus, I think older men and older women have. If some people grow old, some people grow up. You know what I mean? You can grow old and not grow up, but some people really do have some knowledge and they have some wisdom. And there's a lot of young people at the gym that really don't have a clue about things, and you need to really be invited to. You can't just go espouse your pearls of wisdom, because you'll be like, hey, who do you think you are, Gramps? Get out of here. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
But as you navigate through those interpersonal relationships, the gym's a really cool place to talk to people. Not everybody wants to talk,
Sure.
That percentage is getting smaller with time, it seems like. But every now and then there'll be, I have these like maybe it's because I'm a pastor, people want to talk to me about things, but I have these philosophical conversations about geopolitics. Some of the young men I talk to are very, very intelligent. They lack some experience because of their age, but they're very sharp. I'm thinking of some guys in particular, but they like talking about our foreign policy. What are we doing? Why are we doing that? And it's interesting, So I'll go to the gym and I'll lift, and I'll do my thing and tear down some microfibers and all that. But then at the same time, I'm really enjoying it. There's one man that's in there. He got mad at me one time. He said, "You walk in here smiling." He said, "What in the world's wrong with you, dude?" He's like, I don't smile till I leave.
Because he doesn't like what he's doing, really.
Yeah, he says he hates it, but he keeps doing it because he's got to do it, to keep his mobility, to keep moving. And, for quality of life, it's like a bitter pill he's willing to take. It's like taking your medicine, But for me personally, I love working out. I mean, I'm one of those people, that's like, I got to get up and I got to work out. No, man, I love working out.
Yeah,
like,
I know
let's
you
go.
do. Yeah.
I mean, some of it's tough, every now and then you can push it too hard, and you can get into a level of suffering that's just not enjoyable. But if you incrementally add to whatever you're doing, it's called periodization, you add a little bit every time, you get to where you can endure it and build up your strength and you get better. Like in the endurance world, like a 100-mile bicycle ride. Most people, if they try to do a 100-mile bicycle ride, they would just be like, forget it. Man, I'm miserable. I mean, I'm on mile 30 and I want to die. You mean I got to do this another 2 times, and I'm only at 90? Yeah. Man, forget it. I quit. That's too much. But if you ride 3-4 times a week and you start off with a 5-mile ride, most people could probably do a 5-mile ride, do a couple down and backs in your neighborhood and then, well, that wasn't so bad. Do that for about a week and then add it like 10% every week to that. Before you know it,
you're doing 100 miles.
You can ride 100 miles. And people are amazed.
Yeah.
People are blown away that you say, yeah, I could ride to Little Rock. I could ride my bicycle to Little Rock. Or I could ride to Melbourne and back. What? Oh, my gosh. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
It is. But the human body is very adaptable. It will adapt to the training loads you put on it. You just have to give it time to adapt.
Sure.
And be patient with yourself. If you try to start something new, you're not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in a month. Yeah. You're just not.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Fuquay, which we mentioned a while ago, is about riding bikes with him and Stan and another guy. Anyway, I forgot.
Scott Roulier. Yeah, okay. Dr. Roulier.
So, but he did a 100-mile ride on his on his 70th birthday, didn't he?
Yeah, with me.
Yeah, with you and Stan Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, and that ride was horrible too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't horrible.
It was raining, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got into some rain. Yeah, we rode up to Lynn. There's some gas station at Lynn. We left from Jubilee. We rode up to Lynn.
That's a long ways.
Yeah, I know, dude.
100 miles.
And then Charlie was like, I brought a bag of jelly beans to eat, when I got up there. And, you kind of eat a little carbs on the way.
Yeah.
If you know how to, as you train, you learn things, your body runs on carbohydrates. So I wanted to keep a steady stream of carbs coming in.
Okay.
And jelly beans are nothing but straight sugar. There's no fat in a jelly bean, or if there is, there's not very much. And so we got up there to this gas station in Lynn. And I don't like black jelly beans. And Charlie was like, it's my birthday. I love black jelly beans. Here you go. I gave him all my black jelly beans. He was so happy. Then on the way home, we got into some rain. And there's chicken trucks running on the road. And there's rain on the road.
Uh-oh.
And the rooster tails, the water's coming off the back tire. The guy in front of you, it's getting in your mouth and all that.
Yeah, that's not a pleasant experience.
Yeah, it was about 35 miles in a rainstorm coming home. But we did it. And, we checked that box. And Charlie gave me a heads up about a year in advance. He said, hey, you want to come to my 70th birthday party? Yeah. I kind of knew what he was going to say, too. I was like, yeah, what are we doing? He's like, we're going for a 100-mile bike ride. And I was like, I'll start training now.
Okay.
So I started training. So I'm not in endurance shape anymore. I'm in strength shape or whatever, rounds of shape, I'm round now. But I'm a lot stronger in the weight room than I used to be when I was doing the cardio, tons of cardio. But I don't know. you just kind of do your stuff and go on. Well, thanks for listening.